How safe is your child's school bus? 8 News anchor Kerri O'Brien's done some investigating, and in some districts, there are high marks for safety, but others fail to spot serious mechanical defects.
A rash of school bus crashes last year prompted 8 News to take a look at school bus safety as the new school year gets rolling. We wanted to know, how safe is that big yellow bus you put your child on 5 days a week? Those buses are packed with kids. They get a lot of wear and tear, and statewide, they travel millions of miles.
200 million miles traveled by some 16,000 buses in all kinds of weather.
Each school district is responsible for maintaining, inspecting, and repairing their own school buses. State regulations require school buses be inspected every 45 days. Richmond, Chesterfield, and Henrico schools all tell us they inspect more frequently, every 30 days.
They go into the engine, they go under the bus, they look at tires, they look at all the safety items on the vehicle.
We're looking at steering components, looking at brakes, tires. We actually go inside looking at the bus, checking out the seats.
In addition to those monthly inspections, every day before the driver picks up your child, they do a pre-trip check. They walk up and down the aisles, check the seats, check the windows, and make sure those signals are properly working.
And also when they return the bus to their parking location, they do a post-trip inspection of the vehicle.
But despite the daily checks and those monthly inspections, look what happens when a state inspector randomly stops by. During the Virginia Department of Education's last visit to Richmond schools in 2010, an inspector found seat bottoms not latched, a flat inner tire, a defective driver's seat belt, and air brake system failure. Richmond Schools Chief Operating Officer says there's no excuse for it.
Those buses are inspected every 30 days. We shouldn't have issues like that. That should not have happened, just bottom line. That shouldn't have happened.
Richmond Schools tells us repairs were made immediately after the state inspector stopped by.
We're always looking at ways to do things better and more efficiently.
Henrico schools missed a few things too. In May, the state paid the district a visit. The inspector found defects on 6 buses. The problems range from a rear emergency window rusted shut to seat bottoms not latched to a defective emergency door. Henrico tells us there's a good explanation.
Those particular buses you just referenced are spare buses, so they were not on the road. With the training our drivers get, they should catch those items during their pre-trip inspections.
This work order shows repairs have since been made. Still, Henrico officials admit there's always room for improvement.
We use the audit reports from the state to help us get better.
Only Chesterfield earns A's for inspections. A random visit from a state inspector finds no deficiencies.
That's our goal.
Chesterfield says their mechanics are top-notch.
My crew, I can speak for them. Most of them grew up in Chesterfield County, and they rode buses, and now they're married and have children that ride these buses. So my guys take it personal.
And check this out. The last time anyone with the State Department of Education stopped by Chesterfield for a random inspection was 3 years ago, May of 2009. And that might be because 8 News has discovered there's been a 75% reduction in staffing at the state level. Tonight at 6, we'll talk about how some fear that could have an impact on school bus safety. Kerri O'Brien, 8 News.
All right, stay tuned for that. And if you have a story you'd like Kerri to investigate, email her or send her a message on Facebook.
Tonight, our investigation into school bus safety continues. At 5, we dug through inspection reports and found some districts overlooked serious defects with the buses. We've also learned budget cuts have drastically reduced the number of state inspectors checking up on your child's school district. 8 News' Kerri O'Brien continues to investigate.
Every parent wants to know when they put their child on the school bus that they're traveling in a safe vehicle, that the brakes, the engine, and safety features like emergency doors are all in tip-top shape. Each school district is responsible for maintaining, inspecting, and repairing their own buses.
We're looking at steering components, looking at brakes, tires. We actually go inside looking at the bus, checking out the seats.
Periodically, the Virginia Department of Education stops by to check up on the school districts.
What we're looking for is the documentation that all of the things that they're supposed to do have been done.
They also do a random inspection of some of the school buses. We reviewed those state inspection reports for Chesterfield, Richmond, and Henrico schools and found 2 districts missed some serious defects. State inspectors looking over buses in Henrico found a defective emergency door, a rear emergency window rusted shut, and seat bottoms that had not been latched. Henrico Schools tells us there's an explanation for that.
Those particular buses you just referenced are spare buses, so they were not on the road.
And during a visit in Richmond, state inspectors found failure with the air brake system, a defective driver's seat belt, seats not latched, and a flat inner tire.
Those buses are inspected every 30 days. We shouldn't have issues like that.
Chesterfield schools earned high marks for their inspections, but we also noticed the last time state inspectors checked in on Chesterfield was back in May of 2009. 3 years ago. And it's been 2 years since state inspectors paid Richmond schools a visit.
With the staff that we have, we are able to set a goal. An aggressive goal, an optimistic goal of trying to reach at least half of Virginia's 132 school districts during the course of the year. That's a tall order when you consider the topography of Virginia, the distances involved, and the number of people that we have.
It turns out state budget cuts have led to a reduction in staffing at the Virginia Department of Education. There were once 8 state inspectors, but now there are only 2 inspectors to cover all the school districts in the state.
Would we rather have more people? Sure. But is that a factor in what we're seeing in terms of the statistics about pupil transportation safety? We don't have any indication that the safety of bus travel to and from school has suffered. We feel that we have a good record in Virginia in terms of safely transporting children to and from school.
While Virginia's safety record may be good now, local school officials worry about trouble down the road.
It doesn't seem appropriate, you know, for 130 or so school divisions. I mean, just do the math. It doesn't seem appropriate to have 2 people.
I kind of like to see them go, you know, back to where they had some more people in there. Chesterfield County, we're lucky, you know, we've got a good fleet of buses, but what concerns me is these localities that are smaller and have a tight budget, and they have to keep their buses a lot longer than we do.
If we see an issue that has to do with pupil transportation, it's something we're going to follow up on.
Kerri O'Brien, 8 News.
Now, if you have a story you would like Kerri to investigate, you can email her or message her on Facebook.